Actually talking sports. The Drive with Jackson and McCoy. Sports Radio 105.7. The Zone.
And welcome back to The Drive with Jackson and McCoy. Matt McCoy, Stan Jackson, and William White in studio. And you've really done it now, Stan, because William has brought out the reinforcements. So if you're just tuning in...
Reinforcements or the big guns?
Both. So we're having this discussion about the student athlete, and Stan feels like it's, I don't want to put words in your mouth, a sham, so to speak, the student part of the student athlete.
Well,
for
yes.
many of the student athletes.
Throughout the process, for years, it has been overused, and I think abused to limit what you can do with the athletes at the college level. I also think that the two sports of basketball and football are the only two sports that mandate you have to go to college in order to be a pro. So there's some things about it that, I'm not a fan of.
Okay, so William staunchly disagrees.
I staunchly disagree.
So do I.
And there's a person I think that's on the line right now who has a 90% chance of winning and has national championships and 3 and 4 in a row Big Ten championships, and he has a phenomenal program.
It's not really
fair.
fair.
His number one program, Coach Myers, can you elaborate more on that, please?
Urban Meyer joining us right now. Can we still call you Coach Meyer, Urban? Okay, why am I not here?
Meyer Stanley as an athlete and as a broadcaster and as a person, but I will say this, that if you look at the history and overall body work of, and I've been involved in this over 3 decades, I would agree there was a time, and I felt guilty of that too, that the university was there for 2 reasons: win football games and graduate players, and that's it. And it didn't matter what degree, it didn't matter, you got them tutors, you did all the best you could, make sure they're eligible and get them through. And I think that is really changing. I know in my career in the last, ever since my daughters, just to give you a little background, all 3 of my children are recruited and are Division I athletes. And I went on some trips with Nikki, a very good volleyball player, to some schools. And I got very upset when all they were talking about was locker rooms, training table, and jersey numbers. And I was very upset. And I started thinking back, and I would always interrupt the coach and say, what are you going to do for my daughter? And they would always say the same thing: we're going to help her get a degree. She was a 4.0. They don't. We don't need an assistant volleyball coach helping her get a degree. That's the parent's job. That's an expectation. That's not the final goal. And then I started to self-evaluate myself. I was the head coach of Florida, and I thought, my God, for the last 20 years, that's what I've been doing. I've been, pushing kids to get degrees, but then when they're done playing, they get their degree, they move on, and you move on to the next team. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to let that happen to my own children. I became the person that was making sure they had shadowing opportunities, internships, and constantly discussion life after sports. So we started something called Real Life Wednesdays, and the reason we call it that, we take part of football practice, football training times. That's, you're limited so much time per week, and we took it to develop them the life skills necessary so they could survive once this athletics are done. And it's from fiscal responsibility, how to dress, how to handle the interviews, how to present yourself, how to build a resume, a working resume, etc. And then this thing exploded when we got here, because you have Fortune 500 companies, you have corporate America 2 miles from campus, and it's probably 100% better than I ever envisioned that this thing would be. So we have our goal here, and it's pretty close to achieving it. If you're in good standing, that means you handle your business, you do what you're supposed to do on and off the field. A powerful place like Ohio State should darn near guarantee you a job placement when you're done.
Yep.
And that's kind of where we're at. So for those handful of people that go make millions of dollars like Bosa's and Zeke Elliott's and Gary Ann Conley's and all
say that again, Coach. Coach, say that again. Handful. He got a team of 100 people. 120 people are on that team, but a handful is going to make it to the next level. But all of them need a career.
I'm well aware. I was one of the guys that actually needed a career. Right. So I get it. I do.
Well, here's the thing, Stanley. Think about this. This is for the listeners to really think about this. As good as you have great facilities here. The training, the food, the training, the the health that we get, the welfare for the student athlete, what Gene Smith does for these student athletes is, I think, second to none. However, and we do pay for your school, so that's a great advantage. However, the disadvantage is by the time you're a junior or senior, you are behind the other students, especially at an elite place like Ohio State, because they have work experience, they have internships, and they started the network system that a student athlete will not have. And so we've been able to do, Stanley, these companies, some have been great, some haven't been great. They streamline these, like Goldman Sachs has helped us streamline internships to be able to offer one or two of our guys a job. And you're talking about Goldman Sachs, that's about as hard a job as you can, everybody wants to do that. So we've had great success with, companies that are giving us many, because an internship is, 18 to 21 weeks or something like that?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And a football player, you're talking about max, in the summer internship, 3 or 4 weeks. Most of them are 5 to 6 days, where it's just basically indoctrination and getting to put something on your resume, meet people, and then you get to network them the rest of your career at Ohio State.
So, Coach, how do we then replicate that around the country? Because I agree, ever since I heard about your program, it's outstanding. It's done well for the student athletes. Gary Collins is actually a first cousin with my wife, so he talked about it with my family. But how do you replicate that to all the other schools across the country that are still using the old model?
Well, 6 years ago, we first started, and we started really, in recruiting, we were obviously killing it, and we're still killing it. And this is a huge part of it. So what do you think other schools started doing?
Yeah.
Every top program now has some type of, I don't know what they call it. They're obviously, I'm biased. It's not near as good as what Ohio State does, but they're
there you go.
they are, and you know what? That's good for the student athlete. I'm glad that 90% of the top, I would dare to say the top 25 programs, every one of them has some kind of a real life or post-football, post-athletic plan for the players.
Yeah, and aren't you now expanding this, Coach? Now it's not just for the football team now?
Yeah, I just stepped out of the meeting. We're going to, with Gene's blessing, we're going to make this, there's already been so many good things. There's a Gene Smith Leadership Institute that we're actually meeting on today. And, all sports should have access to this. And the good thing is most of them do already, but our goal is to make this athletic department-wide program and have one, I know that's a lofty goal, but have 100% career placement, job placement when you're finished playing sports at Ohio State.
Well, I am a guy that was an athlete. I was a swimmer and got into the broadcasting business and everything. And for me, from a reporter standpoint, Coach, when it really got through to me was talking to guys when they came on campus who were citing your Real Life Wednesday program as a reason they came. The example that always sticks in my mind is J.K. Dobbins. He enrolled early, and we were talking to J.K. around there, and what pushed Ohio State over the top? Oh, it's Real Life Wednesday. And I hear that more and more. When was there a stage in this when you started this program where you're like, holy cow, this is not only great for the kid, but from a recruiting standpoint and family standpoint, this separates us?
Well, right out of the jump here. Right out of and we have a built-in, you'd name another school in the United States of America that has as many Fortune 500 companies, as many intern opportunities. You can, any walk of life you have here in Columbus. Anything you want to do in the city of Columbus, and they're all Buckeyes. Mm-hmm. So you want to be a policeman, you're good. You want to be a teacher, you're good. You want to be every player wants some business. They have no idea what they're talking about, but we're going to expose them to, whether it be entrepreneur, whether it be sales, whether it be money management, whether it be finance. We're going to expose it to them through the shadow program. Mm-hmm. And then by the time they're a junior, it's time to make decisions. And that's, what do you want to do? And that's when we put you on a plane somewhere. Brady Taylor is a great example. Brady Taylor did 2 shadow opportunities, and he came back to me and said, I'm very interested in hotel management. Excellent student, great family. And we put him on a plane and sent him down to Ritz-Carlton in Naples for a week. And he got exposed to all the right people, and now, he's going to pick what he wants to do when he's done playing, which he's done playing, and he told me he's got many opportunities because of what he did during Real Life Wednesdays.
So stay right there, Coach, with the actual athlete, because obviously for me, most guys, you get to Ohio State, the dream is to play in the NFL, and the focus is that carrot is dangling. So how do you get guys to understand the importance of the other side early in their career so that when they're a junior, they haven't taken a bunch of bad classes and they're not down a bad path?
We don't allow that now. I mean, that's gone. Yeah. That's gone. Now, unfortunately, you still have some. You know, we're talking. We're probably on a. You know, I'm going to throw a number at you. I would say 8 out of 10. You know, you're still going to get a couple players that say, "I'm going to make. If I don't make an NFL, you know, screw it." Or we don't allow that. Now, to say we're 100% perfect on that, there's been some people. It's very far and few between. If you leave at Ohio State without a career, that's on you. And at some point, you got to grow up and take responsibility. That's what we call good standing. And you know, how about this, Stanley? You'd love this. We added that you can't get a championship ring, you can't get your gold pants, you can't perform at pro day, you can't, you know, even get per diem at bowl games unless you're in good standing. You're taking care of your business on and off the field.
And I love that.
And
that's what
and
I'm
as a result,
that is good. I would have been in trouble, but that's good.
Hey, but that's setting the standards to let them know what they need to do. I mean, it's man, I love that. That's
all our guys played in a bowl game. All our guys were eligible. All our guys, you know, and you can say it's because of self-discipline, but you know how it is when you're 21 years old and you think you're gonna be the first-round draft pick. If you know you're not going to get your gold pants or your championship ring or work a pro day, then that makes you a little more serious about finishing the semester right.
You know, Coach, the guy that William used to play for, I was pleasured to work with, but Earl Bruce, he used to always tell me and told the story about how the most rewarding thing for him as a coach wasn't seeing, you know, William White, the NFL star football player. It was finding out what he's doing in his life and the kind of dad that he is and the businessman he is. And the guy that didn't play very much come up to him a couple of years later and say, I'm working here, I'm working, have this business that started going there that is going really well, whatever it may be. Is that true with you, too? Like years down the road when you run into somebody that was in your program and they've succeeded in life thanks to the Real Life Wednesday program or just the education. How rewarding is that from a coaching standpoint?
Well, other than listing the crystal ball or the gold trophy, that's it. And I'm embarrassed to say I'm not proud of it, that the early part of my career, it was all about get him a degree and push him on. And the minute my daughter went on her recruiting trip, that changed my perspective forever. And then my other daughter went through it, and then my son went through it. And they're living student athletes. And I now, you can say, well, volleyball is not football. Don't tell the volleyball players that.
right.
Because they work just as hard as football. The same time commitment, the same. So they deserve the same, you know, the same opportunity that a starting safety at Ohio State has.
Hey, real quick, because we're running out of time, but you mentioned about the last year's job fair. You mentioned that you had big plans for that in the future of the event. Can you share any of that, the expansion of the job fair?
Yeah, we're making it obviously athletic department wide, and then also what you start seeing is some of our former players are coming back now, given hiring up or given employment opportunities. So it's a little bit like a flywheel. So it's coming, it's gone full circle. That you can see some of the players coming back and giving business cards and saying, "Hey, come see me. Let's have lunch. Let's talk about us hiring you at this job." And so that's you got a good place and a good program when all of a sudden people keep coming back, and now it becomes a Buckeye brotherhood type thing.
Right.
I got to tell you, Coach, you are You're moving me in the right direction. I've got one
Thank
last
you, Coach.
question. How do you deal with the unruly parents like William White when they're always around the locker room?
I'm not always around. I only come around when they ask me. Just agree with me, Coach.
all good people.
Yeah. Hey, are you enjoying teaching?
I am. I love it. And obviously you're teaching at an elite school, the Fisher School of Business, and I'm working for as good a person as there is in Gene Smith, so yeah, I'm very pleased.
All right, one last thing, I promise, and I'll let you go. And we played a soundbite yesterday of Drew Brees talking about Michael Thomas and about why he is so great is because what you see on Sunday, what he did in the playoff game, he does every single day in practice, and that is that he's made himself the player that he is. Can you identify that? Is that hard to identify in recruiting, or do you not know that until you get a kid on campus, that they have that in them?
Well, Mike didn't have that when he came here. Mike
you developed it?
If you remember his career, and guys like Joey Galloway helped with that. Hold on one second.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I just got a quick question there. So Michael Thomas came his first year, had 2 catches. Second year, he redshirted him because he was struggling so bad. And we had a meeting with his father and his uncle, Keyshawn Johnson, and who knew? They might quit, they might do anything, and he went to work. And his transformation from year 2 to year 3 was legendary. And he became one of the best receivers in college football, and obviously he's taken it to another level now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Coach, we really appreciate this. I know William does.
I deeply appreciate from helping me smash Stan and his thoughts and everything. So I appreciate you, and if you ever need anything from me, we'll make Stan do it.
There you go.
Very good. And thanks so much, Coach. This was a pleasure to talk to you, and lines open anytime you want to join us. Appreciate it very much.
Have a great day.